The beginning of the second season of the anime One Punch Man shows Saitama and Genos returning home with their shopping when a monster with a long tongue appears in their path. Following the monster is the hero King, whose mere appearance frightens the monster so much that it immediately apologizes. The people around him are amazed by King's incredible power, even though he hasn't actually done anything. Later, King buys a game featuring anime girls and heads home to play, but on the way he encounters a robot monster. King declares that in order to fight it at full strength, he first needs to go to the bathroom, where he is overcome with panic as it turns out that King is not strong at all, but just an ordinary 20-year-old gamer. In fact, every time a strong monster appeared, someone killed it, and King just happened to be nearby. The hero starts to run away and sees Genos already fighting this robot monster. Returning home, King turns on the game and suddenly Saitama, who has entered through an open window, appears behind him, and they decide to play together. Meanwhile, Genos destroys the robot, but another small robot emerges from its wreckage and immediately attacks Genos. Saitama asks King why he ran away from the battlefield, and at that moment, a huge bird crashes into their house, which Saitama instantly destroys. King remembers that it was Saitama who had been saving him all this time. Genos also defeats the small robot, albeit with difficulty. The action then moves to the Hero Association, where the most dangerous criminals are gathered, because due to the frequent attacks by monsters, the heroes are unable to respond in time, and if this continues, they will simply be unable to withstand the onslaught of enemies. There are not enough heroes. The Association of Heroes approaches criminals with an offer: destroy monsters for a reward. Among them is a man named Garou, who declares that he disagrees with this and admires monsters, adding that he will deal with everyone in the room. The Class A heroes try to stop him, but Garou easily defeats all three heroes and deals with all the criminals, then calmly leaves. Next, we move on to Saitama and Genos. Genos senses the approach of a monster and goes out to check, and it turns out to be Sonic, who has come to take revenge on Saitama. Later, when Saitama stays home and plays a game, Fubuki, also known as Blizzard of Hell, the first in Class B, knocks on the door. She explains that there are different factions within the association that one must join in order to survive. Saitama doesn't understand what she's talking about. Fubuki offers him to join her group, promising an easy life, but Saitama refuses. Then she orders her subordinates to attack him, but Saitama easily sends them to the trash. Fubuki demonstrates her abilities, but Saitama easily dodges them. At that moment, Genos and Sonic appear, and after a powerful explosion, Genos apologizes to Saitama for the dust he kicked up. Fubuki is shocked to learn that the S-Class hero calls the B-Class hero his teacher. At that moment, Sonic interrupts the conversation, and a fight breaks out between him and Genos. Saitama intervenes to prevent him from destroying everything around him and decides to deal with Sonic himself. Sonic uses his cloning technique, but Saitama also creates clones and wins again. After that, Fubuki reveals that she has a sister, Tatsumaki, who is second in Class S and much stronger and smarter than she is. At that moment, King enters their home, and Fubuki is speechless when she sees him. The third series begins with Bang beating up and chasing away his only student, Charanko. While wandering around the city, Charanko notices Garou, who continues to hunt heroes. This time, his target is Moomin Rider, the hero ranked first in Class C. The heroes who have previously suffered at the hands of Garou arrive at the scene of the battle, but before they can say anything, one of them is immediately punched in the face. Garou declares that no one will leave alive, but suddenly receives a powerful blow from the Class S hero, Tank Top Master. Garou is delighted with such an opponent, and a fight ensues between them, in which the S-Class hero loses, receiving numerous blows. After that, Garou deals with Moomin Rider and the other minor heroes. Charanko, seeing what is happening, tries to stop Garou, but to no avail. The next morning, Bang, also known as Silver Fang, and his older brother Bomb arrive at the scene of the battle. They see what has happened to the heroes and find Charanko unconscious. Later, Garou meets a boy reading a book about heroes and monsters. After learning the necessary information about the heroes from it, he leaves. Saitama visits Charanko and asks about strong fighters to battle. Charanko tells him about a tournament he was going to attend himself, but due to injuries, he will not be able to participate. Saitama, seeing that the prize is 3 million, thinks about it. Meanwhile, Garou resumes his hunt and defeats 2 Class A heroes. On the way, he encounters Saitama, mistakes him for a weak hero, and attacks. However, his blow has no effect on Saitama, and in an instant, Garou is sent flying by a single blow from the bald man. Garou wakes up in the morning and realizes he is lying in a trash can and does not understand what happened. Saitama arrives at the tournament wearing a wig and pretending to be Chiranko in order to participate in the tournament. At the same time, monsters attack the sponsors of the hero associations in order to kidnap them, but Metal Bat deals with the monsters, and then another powerful monster named Senior Centipede appears, along with another Rafflesidon that can release sleeping gas. After receiving many blows, he finally destroys the monsters. Then a powerful dragon-level monster named Sage Centipede appears, immediately attacks, and throws Metal Bat into a building. Metal Bat climbs onto the monster and hits it in the face, but it doesn't work. Garou walks around inside the city near the monster, and the wounded hero Metal Bat flies in. Garou doesn't care and attacks the hero. The battle between Metal Bat and Garou begins. Metal Bat is ultimately knocked out by Garou's powerful blow. Garou relaxes, but suddenly Metal Bat tries to strike him from behind with a powerful blow. At the last moment, he stops. His sister stops him. Garou strikes him and says that it was his last chance, but he missed it. Garou is about to attack again, but Metal Bat's sister asks them to stop. In the end, they part peacefully. Metal Bat heads towards the centipede monster, but falls due to his injuries. A monster appears, wanting to finish off Metal Bat, but Garou deals with him. Another monster appears from behind and asks Garou to join them, saying that they are from the Monster Association. Garou refuses and tells him to disappear. At the same time, the monsters kidnap the child of the Hero Association's sponsor and flee. The tournament begins, introducing all the participants: Saitama, pretending to be Chiranko, and Genos, who came to support his teacher. Among the participants are also Bakuzan, two-time tournament champion, and Suiryu, four-time winner. At this time, Bang and Bomb are looking for Garou, but on the way they encounter a hero fighting a monster. Bang decides to take care of him personally and turns him into a punching bag. Next, the first round of the tournament is shown: the fight between Max and Lin Lin. Lin Lin attacks first, but Max easily defeats her. The next round is Saitama against Zakos. Saitama simply slaps him, and Zakos loses. The next round is Max against Suiryu, the main participant in this tournament. Max attacks first, but immediately gets punched in the face by Suiryu, and everyone is shocked, except for Saitama, who doesn't care. At this moment, it becomes clear that monsters have appeared near the arena, and everyone needs to be evacuated. Bakuzan arrives and says that there is no need for this, because the arena is the safest place, where the strongest participants have gathered. Genos decides to personally deal with all the monsters so that they do not interfere with his teacher, Saitama. At the same time, the fights of the secondary participants continue at the tournament, and Genos actively fights the monsters. The round begins with Sour Face, a former student of Silver Fang and Chiranko's senpai, facing off against Giga. Genos encounters a monster that steals faces and quickly burns it. At the same time, Sourface wins the fight against Giga, and both are moved to tears. The next round is Saitama against Bakuzan. The fight begins, Bakuzan closes the distance, and Saitama asks him to show his real martial arts skills. Bakuzan begins to talk about his deadly techniques, but when it comes to the head, Saitama sends him flying out of the ring with a single blow. Sourface is in complete shock. Next, Hero Association employees come to the heroes who are supposed to protect the sponsor and his son and ask about the kidnapped son. At this time, Genos encounters a powerful cockroach monster that was so fast that Genos couldn't keep up with it. He had to use glue to catch the monster, but at the last moment, the monster managed to escape by tearing off its legs. At this time, a battle is taking place at the tournament between Suiryu and the A-class hero Snek, in which Suiryu easily wins. Saitama is in the bathroom. In the next episode, we see the Monster Association's lair where the Monster King Orochi resides. At the tournament, Saitama defeats Sourface and the four best participants remain in the final. Going into the bathroom, Saitama takes off his wig and Sourface enters, almost noticing this. Sourface announces that Suiryu has already won the fight with one blow and advanced to the final. Then we see Garou, who has come to fight an S-class hero named Watchdog Man. The tournament continues. In the next round, Chose fights Saitama, but Saitama defeats him with one punch. In another city, a giant octopus monster appears, which the S-class hero Tornado of Terror easily deals with, turning it into a ball. The final battle between Saitama and Suiryu begins. Suiryu starts with a kick and increases the distance, then moves on to a speed attack, but none of his blows reach their target. He admits that he is participating for the money and wants to fight a strong opponent, then asks Saitama why he came. Saitama replies that he just wanted to see martial arts, expecting to meet strong opponents. Then Suiryu attacks, throws Saitama back, delivers a series of quick blows, throws him into the air, and finishes with a blow to the face. Everyone thinks Saitama has lost, but he calmly gets up as if nothing happened. Suiryu continues his relentless attacks with his feet, then stops and says that heroes are weaklings and being a hero is just a normal job. In response, Saitama delivers his usual punch, but stops at the last moment. However, even such a light blow tears Suiryu's clothes, and at the same moment, Saitama's wig flies off, causing him to be disqualified from the tournament. Suiryu doesn't care, like he continues to attack and demonstrate his true strength. After a series of blows, Suiryu asks Saitama if he understands what martial arts are. Saitama replies that it's a way to move coolly, then spins around and throws Suiryu with a hip strike, sending him flying out of the arena. The award ceremony begins, with Suiryu receiving the cup for first place. Suddenly, monster crows attack the arena, and with them appears a monster named Gokutsu, a former martial arts master who, after eating monster cells, has become incredibly strong. Two Class A heroes come to the rescue, but Guketsu easily sends them flying. He offers the tournament participants monster cells to eat and become stronger, warning that those who refuse will be killed. One of the fighters, Rossi, eats a cell and turns into a monster, but Chose breaks his neck and also eats a cell, becoming a monster himself. Half of the participants follow suit. Suiryu challenges the monsters and destroys everyone who is transformed, after which, covered in wounds, he says that he hasn't seen his own blood in a long time, and that being a monster might even be cool. He takes a monster cell and throws it in Guketsu's face, then attacks him, striking him in the face, but receives many serious injuries. At the same time, Garou fights the S-Class hero Watchdog Man, but his attacks are useless and he has to defend himself. In the arena, Suiryu's fight against Gokutsu continues, in which Suiryu is completely defeated and is on the verge of death. He asks Bakuzan for help, but Bakuzan refuses, stating that he wants to become a monster and be the strongest being. Bakuzan eats the monster's cage and falls to the ground. At that moment, A-Class heroes Snek and Max arrive to help Suiryu, defeating the monster crows. Suiryu decides that they cannot defeat Guketsu and tries to escape, while the heroes stay behind to buy some time. However, the transformed Bakuzan soon appears and begins to beat Suiryu. Receiving an order, Guketsu leaves the arena, leaving Bakuzan to finish off his opponent. Beaten and exhausted, Suiryu begs Bakuzan to spare him, admitting that he no longer wants to fight. Bakuzan begins to break his bones, and Suiryu, in desperation, calls the heroes for help. Just when it seems that all is lost, Saitama suddenly appears. When Bakuzan sees Saitama, he remembers that he lost to him in the tournament and strikes him with a powerful blow using his technique. However, Saitama, without even remembering who he is, destroys him with a single blow. After that, Suiryu tells Saitama that there is a dangerous monster named Guketsu nearby and asks him not to go outside, but Saitama calmly replies that he will just go and come back quickly. Suiryu tries to stop him, but unsuccessfully, and Saitama leaves. A moment later, Guketsu's severed head falls into the arena. Stunned by this, Suiryu asks Saitama to take him as his disciple, but he refuses. Later, Saitama begins to wonder why he is even bothering to be a hero. He is getting bored because no one else can be a worthy opponent for him. He meets King and tells him that he has lost interest in fighting and no longer feels pleasure from victory. King replies that the path of a hero is not easy, and even after reaching the top, there is always room to grow. At this time, Garou, seriously injured after his fight with Watchdog Man, wanders around the city and runs into King. He lunges at him with an attack, but suddenly Saitama kicks Garou into the wall. At that moment, knocking him out, Sonic then throws a kunai at Saitama's photo, imagining how he will one day defeat him. Ninjas like him from his native ninja village come to him. They tell him about the existence of the Monster Association and offer Sonic to join them, promising that by becoming one of them, he will become incredibly strong, just like them, and give him a monster cage. Sonic, having arrived at the abandoned building, prepares the monster cage and begins to try it out. Episode 10 begins with King and Saitama playing a video game in which Saitama keeps losing to King. After the game, Saitama asks about the device and King explains that it is a device from the Hero Association designed to track heroes and request backup. Meanwhile, during a meeting at the Hero Association, A message arrives from the Monster Association stating that they have 3 days to rescue a hostage and suggesting that all heroes unite and storm Ghost Town Z, where they are located. The action then moves to the monster's base, where Gyoro reveals his plan to gather all the heroes in one place, destroy them, and then take over the world and exterminate humanity. The main monster, Orochi, is interested in the fate of Guketsu. Gyoro searches for him and notices that he has already been killed. Then we see Garou, who finally comes to his senses and, despite being seriously injured, decides to recover. At the same time, Dr. Kuseno completely repairs and upgrades Genos, significantly strengthening him. Next, we see a group of monsters heading to City Z to join the Monster Association, but on the way, they are destroyed by Saitama, who just went out to take out the trash. After that, we move on to a boy named Tareo, who is asked by his friends to check who is sleeping in their barn. It turns out to be Garou, who has decided to rest a little and regain his strength. At that moment, the A-class heroes arrive, and Garou comes out of the barn, after which a fight between him and the heroes begins. Garou immediately goes on the offensive, but at first he mostly dodges because the heroes are working together. And in his current state, it is not easy to deal with all of them at once. During one of his dodges, he is hit by a poisoned arrow, and finding himself surrounded on all sides, Garou realizes that he will no longer be able to dodge all attacks at once. The battle continues, and Garou begins to feel dizzy from the poison. At this moment, a flashback begins, showing his childhood. We see how all the boys around him admired the heroes, but Garou himself thought the monster was cool. After all, he fought alone against 3 heroes, defending his ocean. When the heroes attack him simultaneously, Garou is the first to deal with the hero, Chain and Toad. Then, throwing a ball at his opponent, he quickly deals with the hero Gun. Finding himself behind the ball, he suddenly attacks and defeats the hero Wildhorn, using him as a shield from arrows. After that, Garou uses stones to throw them at the hero shooter, who immediately falls. Now there are only 4 heroes left. Garou quickly deals with Smile Man, then turns the hero glasses into a chop, and finally defeats the hero Stinger with a series of blows. After that, the last hero remains, Death Gatling, who is already aiming at Garou and ready to shoot. Garou tells him not to shoot, as there is a boy in the barn. However, Death Gatling does not believe him and starts shooting special bullets. Garou deflects all the shots and then defeats Death Gatling with one powerful blow. Tareo, seeing Garou in this state, runs away in fear, screaming for help. Garou is left alone, wounded and exhausted. At that moment, Genos appears. Having received a request for backup, a fast and brutal battle to the death begins. Genos attacks with his abilities and a series of blows. Garou responds with technique and sends Genos to the ground with one powerful kick. Genos fires a beam and almost finishes Garou off. He gets up, and Garou, removing his bandages, shows off his abs. Meanwhile, King and Saitama continue playing a video game, where Saitama has already lost 81 times in a row and is starting to get angry. Suddenly, King receives a request for backup. He and Saitama decide to stay home since there is already an S-class hero there, but Saitama suddenly wonders where Genos has gone and decides to go check. Meanwhile, the fight between Garou and Genos continues. Genos grabs Garou, and just as he is about to fire a beam, Garou breaks a tree and dodges the attack. He tells Genos to pass on a message about him to everyone. At that moment, monsters from the Monster Association appear to help Garou, but he refuses their help. Genos quickly deals with them and is about to fire a powerful shot when suddenly Bang, Garou's former teacher, and his brother Bomb appear. Teacher and student finally meet face to face. Garou receives a barrage of strikes from his teacher. Bang beats him without stopping, and then Garou, using the movements of the hero Watchdog Man, tries to escape. However, Bomb appears in his path and prevents the escape. Now Bang and Bomb attack together, giving Garou not even a single chance for a breather. Garou begins to have a flashback. In his childhood, he was always forced to play the role of the monster, whom everyone beat and defeated. He saw how everyone admired heroes and hated monsters, without considering that they too could fight for their own cause. Garou considered this system of good and evil unfair, and decided to become strong to destroy this perception of the world, where heroes are always right and monsters are always bad. At that moment, a monster appears from above and takes Garou away. Genos fires with all his power, but suddenly a giant monster named Elder Centipede appears and takes the hit. Bang and Bomb attack together with maximum strength. It seems that the beast is about to die, but it instantly regenerates. Genos decides to fight personally, applying all his remaining energy, but even his powerful attacks yield no results. The monster recovers again and again. Genos is nearly broken and exhausted. At this moment, the Hero King appears and provokes the beast, claiming that the #1 hero is with him, Blast, to whom Elder Centipede once lost and fled with his tail between his legs. The enraged monster prepares to attack King, but at the last moment, Saitama appears, and with a single punch, completely destroys Elder Centipede, leaving no trace of it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new breakdowns. See you in the next video.